So at this point, I've been doing some veneering. Now I have my core material and I have my veneers. So I started off with strips like so. I believe I went an inch, just over 1 5/8 inches. The finish is 1.5 inches. And what I've done is I've edge jointed a dark and light strip together on all of them, except for this one. I have one more to do there. Now, the next step is to choose my grain pattern, which is pretty straightforward. I can only go dark light, dark light. But I have to keep in mind also that some has to be trimmed off. So if I have any small checks or chips around the edges, put them all to one side. And if I have the same, grain feature, for instance, I have this little colored spot there. It's not a knot, but what will happen when I cut them and flip them is that will be straight down the board, so I can either flip those around when it comes time to put one in the front, one in the back. I have to think that through a little bit. But at this stage, what I would do is I will glue these two together and these two together. And when I do that, I will bring the inside ones that are going together down to 1.5 inches and leave these large for now. The reason I'm going to do that is because they're veneers, they move around pretty easily. And when you remove material off one side, it's going to bow and shift and whatnot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take them off the insides, glue them together, and leave these large. Same on here, and then same here. And now leaving the outside ones large, what that does is when I go to glue it down onto the core, so it will give me a little bit of room to trim the core square with the veneers versus going perfectly to 12 inches and trying to match the core exactly without taking any off of the outside squares. So that gives me a little bit of room. It helps with tensions in the wood, although these have been pretty damn good. The walnut was a little bit squirrely. I suspect the dogwood will be as well. But it's gonna look pretty damn good. The walnut one is glued up into this stage completely, and it will be sort of leading the way throughout all the pieces. So in a few hours, what I'll do is I'll take that one out of I'll lift that one back up, take the tape off of it, square up an edge, and then I have to run it through the saw. I'll use the bandsaw with the 0 clearance, and I will be cutting them this way. And I'll do my absolute best to keep them in order, so when I start to flip them around and play with I have to pick a face surface, so I want all the best looking squares on the top. And I have to be very careful with that. Now glue gets, spilled over, so I'm going to scrape some of that off, maybe sand some of it off. And then I'm going to do all those edge joints. Now those edge joints are end grain, so I have to be careful with them all the way through because it's not going to glue that well, but it works. So it works until it's glued down onto the core, then it won't move. I'm using Type 3 for this one. So I've done it with white glue and it worked just fine. So this should just be a little bit stronger. So that's the next steps. And the cores are nice and flat. They're looking good.